the UN has an agency for refugees. It's called the UNHCR, which takes care of all the refugees of the world, except for one group that has an agency of their own, the Palestinian refugees, and that's UNRWA. Now, even not only they have an agency of their own, the definition of a Palestinian refugee is stretched over time. That is, if you are a son of a Palestinian refugee or a grandson of a Palestinian refugee, you might still be taken care of by UNRWA. So you inherit your status of refugee in many cases. And on top of that, one of the ways UNRWA takes care of the refugees is providing them with hate education. So if you live in a refugees camp, let's say in the West Bank, and you send your kids to an UNRWA school, he's been taught that one day he will return to, let's say, the coastal plains of Palestine, to that matter, and he's been taught how his grandparents had villas and farms and all that, and now the evil Zionists sit there. Put it another way, UNRWA doesn't really do much to ensure that maybe the Palestinians will get to a better place. On the contrary, they're very good at perpetuating the situation to the degree that there is an academic periodical, an academic journal dedicated to Palestinian refugees. I forgot the name of this ridiculous periodical, but anyway, I have a copy of a PDF copy of its first issue, and to the degree, and then they had an article there of UNRWA and the challenges, and of course one of the challenges that they face, UNRWA, is that they cannot even try and fix infrastructure in the refugee camps, lest they will be accused of somehow trying to resolve the refugee situation outside of Palestine. That is, let's say there is a refugee camp in Syria, and UNRWA wants to improve the sewage problem. They're trying, when they do that, they try to explain, okay guys, yeah, we're doing it, but it's not like we want them to stay here. No, we will keep them there until we go to Palestine. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about that. I think generally it's good news. I can only hope that the UN won't be able to raise the money, and UNRWA will become a thing of the history.
So just a few things regarding UNRWA. Let me know if this is correct, UV. First of all, so for people again who don't know, one more time, so UNRWA, WA is or UNRWA is a UN aid agency for so-called Palestinians, who many people who work for them are pro the attacks of Hamas and other terrorist groups against Israel, but they're not just pro, they actually participated in them. Many members of UNRWA were participating, for example, in October 7th attacks. So that's one. UNRWA textbooks by UNRWA promote anti-Jewish hatred and jihad. Again, this is a UN organization with textbook for children that promotes anti-Jewish hatred and promotes jihad, and it has incited generations of children in so-called Palestine to violence. And they also have actively glorified terrorism. Again, this is a UN organization. And they have also, the UNRWA facilities have repeatedly hid Hamas weapons and tunnels under schools and hospitals, acting as shields. And they also, like something you pointed out, they prolong the conflict by treating refugee status as hereditary, which is retarded. Like nobody else does that. Like no other refugee groups are considered continue to be considered refugees because they're the children of refugees. And by doing that, they're keeping millions dependent instead of resettling people in different places. It's good for their organization because with refugee status, they will be dependent on them and it will grow their organization. Um, are these are do you agree with these allegations, UV?
To the best of my knowledge, all what you said was true. I don't know that much about their tutorial, their education material, but from what I've seen videos of how what they teach in class, wouldn't surprise me at all. Uh, One thing we should know about UNRWA, because it's also one of the major employers for example, in the Gaza Strip. Obviously, because the Gaza Strip is controlled by, not now, but used to be controlled by Hamas. Hamas is the one that decides who gets which jobs. So of course, if you're one of those who got a cushy job in UNRWA, odds are you were approved by Hamas. So odds are you're going to do what Hamas is going to tell you to do. So of course, so all that comes as no surprise. Again, but fingers crossed, they won't get the money that they need, and we won't have to discuss them or worry about them. Hopefully by next year.
One other thing I forgot to mention is that they help Hamas siphon international aid and control how those resources are split inside Gaza, which basically means a lot of people who are like, oh, donate money to help people in Gaza. Given that UNRWA controls that and Hamas controls a lot of what UNRWA does with regards to where these resources goes, a lot of these resources end up going into funding and supporting terrorism against Israel and against also the people in Gaza, because Hamas also oppresses their opposition and anybody who disagrees with them in Gaza as well. So a lot of the money that people donate to help the people in Gaza goes to the people who take the people in Gaza who disagree with them, stretch their arms and legs, and use metal tubes to break their bones because they dare say anything against Hamas.
I'll just share an anecdote to see what the Palestinians think of them. When many years ago in the 90s, when I did my reserve duty next to the Gaza Strip, and there was this young Palestinian from Gaza. He was severely injured, not because of us or anything. He was just severely injured for another reason. And we just sent him back to Gaza. And I told him, look, the first thing you're going to do when you go back to Gaza is he had gangrene in his hand. I told him, you have to go to the UNRWA um, infirmary, surgery, have them treat your hand. And his immediate response was, oh, those are donkeys. They have no idea what they're doing. That was his immediate response when I told him to go and get treated in UNRWA. So that's what they think about the level of professionalism in Gaza, to the best of my understanding.
Okay, first to respond, we have Jeffrey.
Yeah, this is actually a topic that I've tangled with for a while. And I mean, Yuval and Armin touched on a couple of key points that underwrites just how corrupt and illegitimate UNRWA really is. Not the least of which is for easily 20 years, UNRWA has had, so like Hamas has dug pipes that were put in the ground in the West Bank or Gaza to turn into Qassam rockets and Katyusha rockets. Like they got busted doing it numerous times. And tragically, again, to Armin and Yuval's point, UNRWA is ungodly corrupt. It very much pays the whores, including leftists. I'll get to that in a minute. That facilitate their continued illegitimate operations under the dubious auspices of we're trying to help the non-kinetic residents in West Bank or Gaza. Well, but why did you fucking dig the sewer pipes out of the ground to turn them into Qassam rockets, dickhead? Right? I mean, if the water is the issue, right, because it has nothing to do with non-kinetic residents of Gaza, has everything to do with stealing money and or filtering it towards support of terrorism against our Israeli allies. So I'm at Syracuse in 2008, and tragically, they had a Clintonista fuck by the name of Dr. Wallerstein or Wallerturd, who very much was an apologist for UNRWA and any other number of groups that were front organizations for Hamas. And there was a time I was in Dr. Denevers' class. We were doing an international relations security thing. And I mentioned the fact that, UNRWA has, like Hamas, they're shitting all over Israel. They had a guy from the Palestinian Authority there, which is like, and so he's like, oh, okay. So, like, Israel's given tons of material support to the non-kinetic elements in Gaza, right? They're like, we hate that you're firing rockets at our kids. That said, Jews, super fucking awesome, very much respect life. Was like, they should have sewers so they don't have to swim in their own poop. Yep. So, UNRWA tells their buddies in Hamas to dig the fucking pipes out of the ground, turn them into rockets. And of course, Dean Wallerstein, fat Clintonista fuck that he is, sat there, was like hemming and hawing and guffawing. Oh, they're so big, they can't make a rocket out of it. Go figure, Israeli intelligence just video records them digging it out of the fucking ground and machining them into the tubes of Qassam rockets and shit. So yeah, I mean, UNRWA is absolutely scuzzy as fuck, and they need to be disbanded. And the people that are investigated, if they're found guilty, thrown in Gitmo. Fuck those people. Not the least of which is the fact that they very much amplify the misery of the non-kinetic elements in Gaza that Hamas is to this day murdering, because if they dare not support Hamas's illegal acts and campaign of terrorism against our fucking Israeli allies. Give me a shem. I don't mean to say that. It's fucking ungodly irritating. And you have any number of left-wing, self-absorbed fuckers right here in Western civilization wearing keffiyehs, diddling their little raisin skittle about how the fuck they think somehow UNRWA is helping kids not have shitty water in Gaza. I very much believe that, you should have effective critical infrastructure in Gaza, so much so that Hamas needs to be freaking eliminated, because they're the ones that keep filtering it away to terror tunnels, bases under hospitals. Shake a stick, you'll hit a fucked up act by those douche canoes. Feel free to look at all the links in the chat about any of the intelligence reports or UN reports that outline just how corrupt and fucked up UNRWA really is in using and turning sewer pipes into rockets.
Jeffrey, in side chat, you were given an award for having the most creative profanity. So wear that title as a badge. I am next to respond, and I wanted to add in the side chat a link to a group called UN Watch. Not only do they keep an eye on the UN, but they also have lots and lots and lots of resources again with cases against UNRWA. Yes, Hillel Noor, if you click that side link, you will just find more information than you could ever want to know about UNRWA. Links to their terror ties, UNRWA workers, just a plethora of information if you want to dig any deeper into that. Next up, we have Kat.
So, first of all, Jeffrey, seeing you saying, forgive me, Hashem, with doing the Catholic crossing, it's something that I've never seen before. Crazy. I want to say something. It really cut me off guard. Just so you know, UNRWA is like 99% Gazans and like Palestinians, let's say it this way. They have like under the number of 5, I think, if I'm not mistaken, uh, non-Palestinian like workers in UNRWA. It's completely it's not like a European thing, not at all. Only like the head and maybe a couple of beneath them. So yeah.
Okay, next up we have Monkey.
Yes, I just want to say the UN sucks. The UN is terrible. The UN is captured. They have around 57 nations that are part of like an Islamic bloc. Some of these nations are very, very guilty of influencing our universities, our NGOs. I have no doubt that they're bribing and doing everything they can within the UN to gain influence. They vote as a bloc in the UN. This is a big problem. The UN is captured. The UN is useless. Wherever you don't have the Saudis, Qataris, and all these people trying to influence in the US, they're also doing it in the UN. Then you'll have China and you'll have Russia. I'm sure they're trying to influence as much as they can in the UN and using money to do it. I think this is just a captured institution. I think this is the chat wants me to chimp out. Okay. I think this is a captured institution. These people are terrible. We should get rid of them. We should stop funding them. This is all very, very bad. The UN sucks. Everybody needs to know the UN sucks. And we should just remove ourselves from that equation. We should remove ourselves from that equation. Just quit. Just say bye-bye. No more funds.
Okay, next up we have Richard.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree 1,000% with what Jeffrey said. The UN goes far beyond incompetence and corruption. It is an active force for evil in the world. We have prime real estate in Manhattan we could use by just getting them the hell out of our country. I'm old enough to remember the early days of the internet and pictures of the UN ambulances driving members. I think it was the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, suicide bombers all over Israel to detonate. One of them was the Spiral Pizza bombing, I believe. These people are enablers of mass murder. And there's, I think they just get a pass. Well, it's corrupt. It's an international organization. It goes way beyond that. They are an active force for evil in the world.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.